Confidential, the weekly podcast where we bring you the hottest comic book, movie, and TV action. I'm your host, Cade, and alongside me today in the studio is Troy. How are you?
I'm all good in the hood. I was dead set. I knew about half a second before I started talking that I had to come up with something different.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work.
So what was it again? Say it.
It was I'm all good in the hood. It's just right. I'm all good in the hood.
Yeah, okay.
But
like you're trying to do with an Irish accent.
Yeah, yeah. I'm all good in the hood. There we go.
I like that.
Yeah. We'll keep it at that.
I think you should run with that forever from now on.
What an absolute failure to start the show. That's amazing.
I don't think it's a failure. I think that's a win.
Hey, I appreciate your support. I do.
Really?
Yeah.
You know who could use your support at the moment?
What?
Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor. Jesus. Look, I know this is a comic book related show. Let's talk about sports for a second. Man, look, there is not a more boneheaded move than I have seen than what that gentleman pulled the other day. Honestly, like picking up a dolly and throwing it at a bus full of fighters. Just the extent of that, like there were 4 people that couldn't fight afterwards. There's just a number because they missed their weight cuts and all that sort of stuff. It's absolutely look. I've been a supporter of the guy since the start, right? Because I really liked his attitude, and I remember one of the first things he said, you know, when he won like his first sort of UFC debut, he's like, you know, they're like, oh, what are you going to do, you know, with your money or whatever? And he's like, I'm going to blow it all, and I'm going to, you know, I didn't have any before, I'm not going to have any now. You know, he just wanted to live that life. He wanted to stay hungry, so he was just going to blow his money.
Yeah, good.
Something happened along the way, and he kept getting more and more money.
More than he can spend.
Yeah, and his attitude changed, and man, now like just the arrogance, the sheer arrogance to think that you can just effectively do whatever you want, and you know, almost ruin people's livelihoods because of it.
Yeah, let's try comparing to a comic book character so we can like tie him back into the podcast.
Okay, is there? I don't know who's like maybe like the trickster,
yeah,
or something like that. You know, someone who's like just a bit of a jerk,
yeah,
and like does annoying things all the time. No real threat to anybody, but kind of like just, you know, just
that pain in the butt.
Just that pain in the butt for the superheroes around town.
Maybe a Plastic Man.
Maybe a Plastic Man. He's definitely got the attitude.
A Booster Gold.
Oh, yeah.
Booster Gold is pretty showy.
Booster Gold is pretty showy, but he's kind of more like. I would say, in the real world, Conor McGregor is probably more talented than Booster Gold.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So, you know, no offense to Booster Gold fans out there, but that's how I see it.
We have to wait. McGregor could still steal future tech and come back as Booster Gold in the future.
We don't know.
We don't know yet.
We don't know. Is there a leprechaun superhero or supervillain? If there is, that's the one I want.
Yes. I'm sure there is.
He's kind of like he's the Lucky Charms guy.
Yeah.
On the box
on the cereal?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Moving on from sports and getting back to what... How's everything been? You
know what, Troy? I'm also fighting my own battles this week. I'm still without internet.
See, this is good. I
like to see how this is good.
Yeah, well, not to poke fun at your situation, but I guess, like, for us, it now becomes it's like Internet Watch. And every week we get to check in to see if you actually have internet yet.
Yeah.
So maybe that should be a new segment, Internet Watch.
I think so. I think it's our most reoccurring thing on this show is us 3 people, including Amy,
yeah, of course,
are always battling to have internet.
Yeah, it has been one of those things. So I'll check back in with you next week on Internet Watch and see how you're going. I hope for your sake you're going to have it. From all reports, though, it doesn't seem like you will.
No. One thing I do want to talk about is we're not actually going to talk about this movie, but Ready Player One, Troy,
yes,
has been killing it with critics after it's been released.
Yeah. So this is one of these things, like we were going to review it, but we kind of dropped off because we heard real early reports that, you know, it was crap and the scheduling didn't work out with like getting to the cinemas and like, all that sort of stuff. So we kind of just decided to drop it. And it turns out people are enjoying it, man. Like they seem to really be getting into it.
I heard that it's quite a bit different from what the actual book is, but that's going to happen when you go from one medium to another.
Yeah,
some things just don't translate well.
Oh, there's just some things that you can't do.
That's right.
Like it's physically impossible to bring to the big screen. And I think like as a fan of the book, like I am a fan of the book, even though like I believe maybe that Ernest Cline has never been in an actual adult relationship in his life, because the dialogue between Parzival and Artemis, the lovey dialogue, oh man, it is cheese.
Is it really?
It's like dead set cheese, and the book is written well. So it gets to this kind of romantic subplot between the two of them, and it is there's more cheese than a triple cheese Domino's pizza.
That's a lot of cheese.
That's a lot of cheese with a stuffed cheese crust.
Wow.
That's how much cheese there is.
That's as cheesy as it gets, Troy.
Yeah. So hopefully they dropped a little bit of that, but I have heard things about the romance between the two of them isn't that great anyway. So looks like they've just continued it on.
Well, that's good.
I definitely want to get out and see it though.
Me too.
At some point,
we should go see it this Tuesday.
Okay, Cheap Tuesday. I like
Tuesday.
it. Yeah. Excellent.
Just talking about like future shows coming up, Troy.
Yes.
We will be doing an Avengers Infinity War live show here in Cairns.
Yes, we will. So if you are in Cairns, we'll give you further details about that in the coming days, I would say, because it's only a couple of weeks away. Anzac Day, to be exact.
Yes.
That's when we're going to do it. So that's a thing that's happening. We'll let you know exactly what it entails, but we are going to do an Infinity War themed show. It is on the official opening night of Infinity War, so we're not going to review the movie. That'll be the week after. Give you guys a chance to get out there and see it. We're going to do something. It'll be our final Road to Infinity War special. And we got a few things up our sleeves, but it's looking like it's going to be the final, like, official ranking of the MCU movies for us.
Ooh,
yeah, but we'll see. We'll see.
We'll find out.
You never know what's going to happen. God damn it! Even though we've pushed this show back to Sunday, somehow Lucasfilm have still managed to drop a Han Solo trailer on the Monday. So,
of course.
So tomorrow, officially, the first official full-length Han Solo trailer is coming. So I guess we'll have to wait to talk about that next week.
Oh, okay. Let's speculate. What do you think is going to happen?
Oh, there's going to be some smuggling.
Yeah.
There's going to be some
Kessel running.
Some Kessel running. There'll be some Wookiee roaring.
I want to see, like, Chewie as a younger Chewie, but like with a little bit of like attitude. Yeah,
like and you know, forgive me if this is like common knowledge. I do classify myself as a Star Wars fan, but this is not something I know. Do Wookiees come out as
hairy?
Babies, like fully hairy and like tall?
Ooh.
Or are they just like normal little short babies that just grow real tall, like basketball players?
I'm sure I've seen like comic books of baby Wookiees and they're hairy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that not confusing to Ewoks though? Wouldn't a baby Wookiee just look pretty much exactly like an Ewok?
It's illegal to have them in the same place at the same time.
Licensing rights.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. So we'll talk about that next week. Do you want to get into the brag board?
Yeah, let's get into the brag board. So the brag board is the pinned post within the CC listener community on Facebook. And you get the chance to brag about a creative outlet that you're involved in so we can brag about it for you on the show.
Damn straight.
To all our listeners, Troy.
To all of them, and hopefully we get some of them interested in what you're doing. If they haven't already, if they don't already know about it, we're trying to throw them your way because, hey, we like to promote creativity and whatnot.
That's right, Troy. And who is this week's braggie?
This week's braggie is Daniel Valentine and the Full 80 Podcast. Now, the Full 80 Podcast is a rugby league that's NRL for you Southerners who might not understand. It's an NRL podcast that Daniel hosts with a couple of his mates. And they do like game breakdowns, they talk news, they answer questions. But according to the man himself, Daniel says it's mainly just a lot of swearing and opinion about footy. And like us, they love interacting with their listeners as well. And sometimes they give away shit. That's pretty good.
Who doesn't like free shit?
I like free shit. I love interaction. I love opinions and swearing, obviously. So yeah, get into it.
Maybe you can like force your way into their show and like try to talk about how terrible the Broncos are.
Why would I do that?
Because
I'm a lifelong Broncos supporter.
Yeah, but they did lose to the Knights this week, Troy.
Well, that's pretty terrible. Look, we've already had one sporting reference on this show. We can't have too many more.
If you want more sporting references.
But if you want your sporting references, nice. We'll have all the links in the show notes, but it is obviously you go to Facebook, check out the Full 80. They are on iTunes as well. That's where podcasts live, basically.
That's right.
There's a whole other bunch of other places, but iTunes is where it's at.
Troy, there's been some good casting news this week.
There has been.
The Boys, the TV show The Boys.
The Buoys.
Based off probably my favorite comic of all time. I'm going on the record and saying it.
Damn.
Yeah, I really love the series The Boys.
Yeah.
This is a comic recommendation. If you haven't read it, go out there, press pause on this, read it, come back and let me know what you think.
It's probably the 50th time you've recommended that comic series on this show.
There's only 2 comics I read. The Boys and Injustice.
Yeah.
That's it.
And the Family Circus in the newspaper.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever happened to, like, comics in the newspaper? Are they still going?
Yeah, they still go.
Is the newspaper still a thing?
It is still a thing. The crazy thing about the comics in the newspaper is that they are still the goddamn same. So there's still Hagar the Horrible.
Yeah.
There's still the Phantom. There's still Garfield. There's still, like, is it Snake or something like that? There's, like, the Snake one, or is it, like, something BC or something like that?
Oh, I remember BC.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah.
Yeah. It's always the same. And it's like Calvin and Hobbes, and it's like the Family Circus, and nothing has changed. I think that's legitimately the only way those comics get published, or those cartoon strips get published.
You know what, though? The Phantom is a really hard one to read in the newspaper every day.
Oh, man.
Because, like, when are you ever going to be, like, in line with what's going on?
I guarantee you there is somebody out there that has cut every single thing out of the comics, and they've pinned together, like, if you put like a thing through the shredder, and you needed to, like, you get the information on it or something, there's an address you needed or whatever, and you got to, like, sit there and pin it all together. Maybe you're a spy, I don't know what your job is, but I guarantee you there's someone out there that is piecing all these Phantom things together on their wall, and they have this, like, amazing, like, it's just a complete story. But which would still be boring as shit, by the way.
Absolutely.
And that's nothing against the character of the Phantom, because I think that's cool. But goddamn, those comic strips are boring.
I feel like the Phantom is the original Black Panther.
Sort of, except he's white, so maybe not.
I don't see color, Troy. Come on, mate. We're past that. And the suit's purple, mate. How can you... There's no comparison.
Well,
Imagine how badass the Black Panther suit would be if it was purple. Purple Panther.
That's like the Pink Panther, basically. That's what you're describing.
Yeah.
But
I want the Pink Panther.
if there's no comparison between them, you can't actually compare them at any point. But yeah, look, I still really enjoy The Phantom with Billy Zane. I think that was a cool movie. But well, that might just be me.
Look, I'm going on the record. Billy Zane's best role was him
The Phantom.
As an extra in Zoolander.
That was pretty good.
That was amazing.
It's definitely top 5.
Because, like, he played himself.
Yeah, it's
and
definitely...
he was, like, just hot and sexy the whole way through.
That's true.
Talking about the Phantom, though, Troy, one of my friends from, like, way back in school days, his dad was a massive Phantom fan.
Yeah.
He used to cut out the newspaper things and collect them.
Oh, you're kidding. I
He's
knew
that
there
guy.
was someone out there. I goddamn knew there was someone out there that did it.
I'll see if I can get some pictures.
Okay.
But this guy had cutouts and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, mega fan.
What was the Phantom's powers?
He had a ring, didn't he?
Was it the ring that gave him the powers, and he had,
Yeah.
like, the strength of 10 tigers or something?
Something like
And
that.
the speed of, like, maybe also 10 tigers, which would also be pretty
Maybe he's
fast.
just powered by 10 tigers.
See, because I always get confused with Brave Star. Do you ever remember that cartoon?
No.
It's like eyes of a hawk, ears of a wolf, strength of a bear, speed of a puma.
Wow.
Yeah, anyway, whatever. Let's
There you
move
go.
on, because we're talking about The Boys, and tell the people who's actually been cast. Let's do that for starters.
Karl Urban has been cast as Billy the Butcher, who is the main guy.
He is the main guy.
He's the main man.
So we're talking Dreadstar Karl Urban. We're talking Thor Ragnarok Scourge Karl Urban. He's coming back to, like, he's staying within the comic book realm, but he's moving to TV.
He loves comic book stuff, mate.
He loves it. And as we know about The Boys, we've spoken about it before, it is made by the same guys that made Preacher. So we're talking Seth Rogen and Jonathan Goldstein. That's a guess off the top of my head.
I think you got it.
Maybe it's... Nah, that's close enough. Anyway, you guys know who I'm talking about. But yeah, this is a really good piece of casting, man. I like this.
Absolutely. You're saying earlier, though, that this has got some fantastic casting all the way through.
Look, yeah, there's a bit. So you've got, I guess, the main couple that are pretty good is that you've got Karen Fukuhara, who was she was the samurai lady. Oh my god!
She was
Katana
out of Suicide Squad.
Jesus, the samurai lady. So she's in it as the female. You've got Chase Crawford from Gossip Girl as the Deep. But the one I'm the most concerned about, I guess, and we only found this out ourselves just now, is Wee Huey, who is like the kind of the main-ish secondary character, I guess. He's I would say almost...
he is the main character of The Boys because it really evolves around him.
Yeah.
Because he's new to this superhero world.
Yeah.
And it's kind of him learning about the world, finding things out, and becoming part of it eventually.
Yeah, so he's this, this scrawny kind of like bald Scottish guy that we were talking about was modeled pretty much directly off Simon Pegg. So if you imagine Simon Pegg, the guy they've gotten instead, his name is it's Jack Quaid, and he is an American actor, and he's pretty good looking. He's a good looking kid. I don't know if he's necessarily going to be able. He's a little bit goofy looking. I'll give him that. He's a little bit goofy, but he's American. He's not Scottish. I don't know if they're going to go down the Scottish route. I don't know if they'll make Billy the Butcher English like he is.
I think he will stay English, but everyone else will be all American.
Okay.
I have a feeling.
Yeah.
Just to cater to modern audiences who will have hard with the Frenchman who doesn't actually speak any English.
That is true. Yeah, so I guess that's a fairly good point. But we'll see what happens, I guess. I am really looking forward to it, though, because I haven't read as much as you have. I'm only... I think I'm 3 volumes in.
Yes.
So I've got a bit more to go before I finish it off. But, man, if you haven't read The Boys, like Kate said, it's by Garth Ennis. Check it out. It's pretty amazing. Now... the next bit of comic book related-ish type of news that we've got is that apparently Brian K. Vaughan's Y the Last Man has received a pilot order from FX. Now, you yourself have kind of said, if there's ever a comic that you'll recommend, it's The Boys. For me, if there's ever a comic series I would recommend, one of them would definitely be Y the Last Man.
Ah.
Yeah. Now, I haven't read it all yet. I do want to get to the end. I want to say 3/4 of the way through. I'm trying to get there. There's a lot of issues. I'll get there in the end eventually. But this is perfect. And the fact that FX have picked it up as a TV series is brilliant because for the longest time they were deciding whether they were going to do a movie or a TV series for this. And most people were kind of like, if you're going to do this, it really needs a TV series format because it really, like to chuck this into 2 hours wouldn't do it any justice. You need to give it time to build and burn and all that sort of stuff. So I'm glad they're doing it that way.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I don't really know anything about the comic books,
yeah,
but from the little bits that you've told me, this seems like it's going to be a winner.
All right, man. Awesome news coming out of Awesome Con. Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbum have both expressed interest in reviving Smallville as an animated series.
I refuse to talk about this unless you call Michael Rosenbum by his real name.
Michael Rosenbum-bum.
Thank you.
So Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbum-bum, yeah, they've both expressed an interest in reviving Smallville as an animated series. What do you say about that?
I wonder if Tom Welling has got it written into the contract that his animated character will not be wearing tights either.
Yeah, maybe. It's I do like the idea because these guys are getting on, like they're in their 40s now and stuff like that. So to try to revive it as a like a live action TV show, similar to what they're thinking about doing with Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Like I don't think it'd work that way, but like if you revive it as an animated format and you've just got the same actors like providing the voiceovers and things like that, like that's brilliant.
Absolutely.
Like you can do absolutely anything and it doesn't matter. But as long as it continues on, and unfortunately to do that, he will have to be Superman. So, and I say unfortunately because, Tom Welling, as you said, did say that he didn't want to put the suit on or anything like that. So as long as they're willing to commit to that, fuck yeah.
I'm so keen for it. But they shouldn't call it Smallville. I want the commitment that the rumor was, 10 years ago when Smallville ended?
Yeah.
That Metropolis was coming.
No, see, Metropolis is coming, though. That's coming as a different series altogether. Yeah, so you can't necessarily do that now because this Metropolis is going to be kind of like it's Lex Luthor and it's Lois Lane before Superman comes to town. So they can't do that. They can't call it that. Maybe they could call it like Smallville.
The teen years.
Yeah, like Bigville.
Yeah.
You know, like because he's all grown up. I don't know.
After Smallville.
Yeah, after Smallville.
Yeah.
My story as Superman.
I like it.
Yeah, and we'll do it as like a I don't know, some sort of like no, we'll keep it animated.
Yeah.
I was going to try to do it like a mockumentary style.
Oh my
like
God.
for like The Office and stuff like
How
that. How
amazing would that be?
And it's like, but it's like him at the Daily Planet, like when he first gets there, and it's like his first day, and you know, Perry White and all that. Like Perry White's like the Michael Scott kind of character.
I like that.
And this, yeah, like we could do that, but they're talking animated. So
what a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, they tried to do that with DC's Powerless, but
yeah, that's true.
They changed that whole show, and then it got cancelled.
Yeah,
that's what you get when you try when you change a great idea to something.
They should have kept it. I really would have liked to have seen it if they had kept it as a mockumentary style thing.
Absolutely. I think they even shot pilot episodes for it.
Yeah, I don't know if it was released though.
That's gonna leak.
Yeah, I hope it does. Like, I would just really be interested to see what they, you know, like how they would have made it happen, because that's kind of how I'd do it. If I was trying to do a comedy, I think it'd be mockumentary style Office,
definitely,
like type of thing, Parks
Absolutely.
and Recreation,
and you don't need a huge budget for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like everything that's action based could happen off screen.
Yeah, like you imagine like you got like Tom Welling, beautiful Tom Welling, and he's just like talking straight to the camera about something. And, it's like, I don't know. I see it in my head.
It's great.
It's beautiful.
They should do a Funny or Die sketch with that.
Somebody make something happen. But yeah, so they're talking about animated series, and I think that's something that they should really seriously consider. We just had the old, I don't know if it's happened yet, but it's coming, the Supernatural Scooby-Doo spin-off.
Yes, that's happened.
So that was apparently quite popular and very well received, so
Absolutely.
It's not like they couldn't do it. So I say get into it.
Well, what I like about this is like this could be a way that they can kind of get it into the current CW verse, because Vixen, before coming on to Arrow, actually had an animated series.
Yep.
Just on CW Seed. So they were like little 10-minute episodes, but it did have Barry Allen and Oliver Queen in it.
Right.
That are in the actual CW verse now.
Yep.
So maybe this is on another Earth. Like, it's not crazy to think that.
Yeah. They could definitely do it. That's for, and this show paved the way for those shows.
Definitely.
So there's absolutely one thing that I would like though is if you're going to, because when you like with the Vixen show that you're talking about, and Constantine as well is apparently getting his own show, which I'm actually curious about if they're going to do that, because now that Legends of Tomorrow has been picked up for season 4,
he'll be going to that. And
he's going to that. Are they going to continue with the Constantine
animated?
Show? I hope so, because the teaser they dropped looked amazing.
Surely. I'm sure they would.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I hope they do. What was I talking about? Can't remember. But anyway, yeah, I like it is basically what I'm getting.
Yeah, I'm really keen for this. The only thing is, like, what wasn't told in Smallville in Superman's, like, story?
Yeah, but this is his story as Superman.
Yeah, I know, but like he kind of fought all these major villains.
But we never really got to see Lex's full rise to power.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? So I can't remember how it ended, because it's so long ago and so many seasons. And I know Michael Rosenbum-bum left before the end of the show.
Yeah, he did.
So he had already sort of exited by the time we got to where we were in the end. Did they kill his character off? Can you remember?
I don't think so.
Or did he just leave?
I think
that
he just
doesn't
left.
make sense. Like he's just going to pack up and go. But that paves the way for him to come back.
Definitely.
So that makes perfect sense. If they did kill him off, obviously it's going to have to be some real sort of soap opera-ish twist as to how he comes back and all that. But yeah, get all the same people, get all the same characters, bring them all back together, and make that happen. I'd be over the moon.
That would be fantastic. And you know what? Romance doesn't work in animated forms, so you wouldn't be bogged down.
Ah, that is true. That's definitely true. Although I think, such a big part of it between Superman and Lois Lane is the romance, right? Is that connection that they have. And you even see it in a lot of the DC animated movies and things like that. Like they still manage to have it in there and it works well in that kind of like 2-hour-ish format. I guess my question then would be, would that be encroaching too much on what DC have already done with their animated movies? Because we have seen so much of Superman and Lois Lane, and there's been like 40 Justice League movies and all that sort of stuff. So
I don't think so, because like each of those movies can really be its own thing. Like, they do kind of tie together a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's so many, like, we've got Elseworld stories going on now. You know, we've got,
true.
You know, Batman by Gaslight or Gotham by
Gaslight, yeah.
There's nothing that, you know, we can't have a couple of different universes going on at the same time.
Yeah, true. From all reports, though, Michael Rosenbum-bum was a lot keener, or seemed a lot keener than Tom Welling. He has actually had conversations with people before about it and bringing it back as an animated show.
Well, Tom Welling's season regular now on Lucifer.
Yeah.
Where Michael Rosenbum sits in his house and does a podcast.
Yeah, now I listen to that podcast fairly regularly. I pick and choose my guests that I want to think. But pretty much every episode that I've heard, he makes reference to Smallville. And hey, if somebody wants to bring that back, I'd be all over it, sort of thing.
Oh, right.
And it's not like the dude isn't doing anything or he's not still, you know, relatively successful and all that sort of stuff. But he obviously, you know, like really enjoyed his time there. And really wants to continue that on in some format because he does mention it fairly friggin' regularly.
See, that's interesting because, like, he's also gone on the record as saying, like, his time as Lex Luthor is done and he, you know, that character, you know, it's had its time in the limelight and he wants to be known for other things.
Well, see, that's probably up until he started to not really get known for other things. And because he's literally said, like I think he said on his podcast at one point that, you know, he would have like jumped at the chance to be Lex Luthor in, you know, like a Batman versus Superman or something like that. But obviously, you know, they wanted to go a different way, and you know, more power to him for doing that. But I'm pretty sure he said he would have like really dug getting in there and bringing his Lex to the screen.
Well, you know what? Maybe he shouldn't have gone out about town saying, "Nah, I'm done as Lex Luthor.
Yeah,
I'm other things now, baby.
I'm a frat boy dressing up as a girl to get into a sorority house."
Troy, I've got some news that's a bit scary.
Oh, scary news.
Yeah, you're going to be afraid. Or you should be afraid.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently the Avengers Infinity War directors, Anthony and Joe Russo, have said fans should be afraid of the Avengers 4 title.
Afraid of it?
Yeah.
What do you suppose that means?
I don't know. Does that mean Avengers 4, someone died?
Yeah. Like, let's say for a second that, look, and I don't know anything, so these aren't spoilers. They're potential spoilers if it turns out that I'm right.
No, you have a contact at Marvel.
Yeah, I totally do. But, like, let's say Captain America dies in Infinity War, right?
Yeah.
So are they saying it's like, you know, Avengers for the death of Cap sort of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Very well could be. I reckon it's going to be Avengers 4 Secret Invasion.
Oh, why would you be afraid?
Because it's a secret, mate, and you don't know what's coming.
But it's an invasion.
Yeah.
So you know there's an invasion, you just don't know who's invading.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's a secret. All right. Well, let's think of some potential titles that could possibly be scary. Some potential Avengers 4 titles that could be scary.
I got one.
Okay, you got one?
Avengers 4 Sharknado.
Avengers 4 Sharknado 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Avengers 4 Thor the Dark World 2.
Oh, I just pooed my pants. That's that scary.
What else you got?
Avengers 4 The Rise of Iron Fist.
Oh, damn. Iron Fist gets his own movie.
Yeah, that's pretty scary.
Yeah, that is pretty scary. You should... No, that's good. Okay, what about Avengers 4 gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan?
Oh, I don't want that.
No one wants that.
No one wants that. Just Avengers 4 vegan.
Yeah, that's enough. That's enough. All right. What else you got?
Well, there's like been rumors around the internet. Boss Logic's done a whole little series of comic like posters.
Oh, yeah.
It says like it's just called like it's not Avengers 4. It's just called Avenge Us.
Oh.
So, like, this could be how we get, like, a whole bunch of new heroes. Like, maybe they all die.
Nah, that's not going to happen.
It's not scary enough, though, is it?
See, like, you know, there's shocked. There's saddened.
Yeah.
There's, you know, there's a number of things, but afraid.
What's, like, something that will make you afraid in the MCU?
When the Herald of Galactus shows up.
Well, that's pretty scary.
Yeah, that's pretty scary. You know what's coming. Avengers 4 Marvel Zombies.
That would be great.
You know, that's something.
That would be so good.
Yeah. You could do like, I don't know, like Avengers 4, the return of Hawkeye's fuckboy haircut.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which we haven't officially seen. But I'm assuming it's going to make an appearance in Infinity War, and then it'll have its revenge of the fuckboy haircut in Avengers 4.
I know how it's going to go down.
How's it going to go?
End credit scene.
Yep.
There's a barbershop. It's the one that Luke Cage used to have.
Yeah, Pop's Barbershop or whatever
Pop's
it was
barbershop.
called. Yeah.
Pop's there because, he's been brought back to life with the time stone.
Yeah.
A reality stone. Probably any stone can bring you back to life.
Yeah.
And he's there, like, just cutting some boy's hair. Just, you hear the little buzz of bzzz, bzzz.
Yeah.
And then he goes, "You're done," and swings around, and it's fuckboy Hawkeye.
But as a kid?
Yeah.
Because, like, you kind of made out like it was a little kid getting a haircut.
Because he's back.
He's back as a boy.
Yeah.
Right.
To fuck shit up.
Are you allowed to call children fuckboys? I don't think that is something that is right. Morally.
I don't think that's right.
Yeah. So, we'll just assume Hawkeye's a fully grown adult.
Yeah, we'll say full-grown man then.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But I'd like to know...
But he's got a scar across his eye to make him, like, more threatening.
Oh, yeah.
Because, every good villain has got a scar across his eye.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I want to know what the listeners think, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I want them to hit us up with suggestions. Do it on Facebook. Facebook, probably the listener community. If you're in there, just hit us up on Facebook. Send us an email. However you want to hit us up, Twitter, whatever. Let us know what the scary Avengers 4 title is, and give us your funny ones, if you got some. All right, so for this week's main segment, we decided to take a hard-earned rest from all our Infinity War shenanigans and catch up on some TV.
Yeah, we did.
Namely, Season 2 of Marvel's Jessica Jones, the 8th superhero season so far under the Marvel and Netflix banner. Season 2 was released exactly 1 month ago today on March the 8th, or International Women's Day, and has so far been met with fairly positive reviews, but I know what you're thinking. What do we, two average-looking, random guys with a podcast somewhere on the internet, think about the whole thing? Well, let's get into it.
You know what, Troy? I genuinely think we might be one of the only podcasts around at the moment talking about Jessica Jones.
Really?
No one else is really talking about this TV show for some reason.
Interesting. It's been a month. I almost thought that, we had kind of pushed it back too far.
We're jumping the shark with it now.
But we've done every other Marvel Netflix show, so there's no way we're not going to wrap up season 2 of Jessica Jones. So we got there in the end. But yeah, if no one's talking about it, that's weird. But more power to us for doing so.
Maybe it could be very telling about the TV show.
Maybe we'll get into some thoughts and whatnot later.
But Troy, let me tell you what the TV show is about.
Please do.
Jessica grapples with more ghosts from her past as she hunts the source of her powers and faces off with the mysterious, super strong killer.
Ooh.
Super strong.
Sounds intriguing.
It sounds like it would be, doesn't it?
I feel like I'm getting a feel of like what you felt for this show. Critical reception, though, Rotten Tomatoes 87%, and an audience score of 70. So obviously not as happy with it at home as the critics are.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So naturally, we've got Kristen Ritter back as Jessica Jones, Rachel Taylor as Trish Walker, Eva Danville as Malcolm. Cairns boy, did not know that.
Yes, he's a Cairns boy.
He's a Cairns boy, like us, but way more famous. Carrie Ann Moss as Jerry Hogarth, Janet McTeer as Alyssa Jones, or Jessica's mum, basically. J.R. Ramirez as Oscar, Callum Rennie as Carl Malice, Leah Gibson as Inez, Terry Chen as Price Chang, and Rebecca De Mornay as Dorothy Walker. Now, let's get into it. So, I guess right off the top of the bat, there will be spoilers, so we're assuming that by this point, like a month later, you've seen it. So we'll try to keep them. We're going all out. We're going all out with spoilers.
All out from the get go. So if you don't want to hear the spoilers, check the time code, skip to the end, hear that part. But that's it for now.
Okay, so
straight in.
Hit me with your kind of overall thoughts.
Man, this season was a letdown for me.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. The real lack of a villain made me feel like these episodes were going on forever and never going to reach a point.
100%.
That's the biggest downfall of this season. And then we find out that the villain is actually Jessica's mum.
Yeah.
Who then suddenly tries to become like an anti-hero.
Yeah, sort of.
Sort of. Like, she's battling her own... It's not even in a demon. She's just like battling her rage.
Because I think she only really pulls the old anti-hero thing like right in the last episode.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about right at the end. And up until that, we've had 12 hours of like, you know, like she's a nut job and, you know, she's really protective of Jessica and she's really protective of Dr. Karl. Not Dr. Karl from Neighbours, by the way.
That would have been better.
That might have been better. Dr. Karl from this show.
Yeah, look, Jessica's arc in this was just terrible again. I mean, we've had, what, two? I'm going to say 2 seasons of Jessica Jones before this, because we had Defenders.
Yeah.
We had Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
And did she show up a little bit in Luke Cage?
No.
No?
Not at all.
Okay. But I'm saying 2 seasons because she was in Defenders. She's still Jessica Jones from season 1. There is no character growth here at all.
Oh, 100%. It's like I've realized at some point that I kind of need to be a hero, but right, and then like the very next thing that happens is me just not doing that.
Yeah.
It's like I'm kind of just still being a private eye and, you know, stuff like that and staying out of the limelight and you know, just going back to being, like you said, exactly like she was in season 1.
Absolutely.
And you can't brush over that. Like that's just showing that character has not grown at all from the events in The Defenders, which saw her become a hero effectively. Still a reluctant hero, don't get me wrong, but way, way further progressed than she was in season 1.
Definitely. And this is just like 10 steps back for me, for this character.
Yeah.
It really made me disengage with her throughout this entire season 2.
Yeah.
And it was really, really disappointing. To be honest, my favorite character from season 2 was Malcolm, because that guy actually had character growth.
He did.
And
definitely.
He had goals, he had ambitions.
Yeah, we saw like most of those were driven by his kind of almost addictive need to like stay busy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know, he'll go and smoke crack or whatever he was doing, heroin, drugs.
Probably
drugs
everything.
are bad. All the drugs. Here's a couple of things, right? They have not figured out that 13 episodes is too long yet. And I just don't understand how. The first 5 episodes were a drag.
Absolutely.
Like an absolute drag. And that's a shame because the actual character of Jessica Jones, I love. I think, you know, and I rate season 1 quite highly. And I really love that character, but there was nothing. There was kind of this, you know, this IGH corporation kind of medical thing or whatever in the background. And Trish was the one who was kind of pushing for it all to happen. And it was kind of like Jessica trying to deal with like the death of her parents, which we've never really kind of seen before in a whole season and a half.
Yep.
You know, like we know that it happened, sure, but like at no point has she ever like thought about it. Like, is that for real? And there was just kind of nothing. And there was just this background kind of like villain that, you know, wasn't really anything and wasn't even really doing too much other than killing a couple of people.
Yeah.
So, you know, and as personal as it turned out to be, there was no real attachment to that whatsoever. And there just wasn't enough to really hook me. And unfortunately, if you don't hook me like
in the
up
first
front,
2 episodes,
give me 2 or 3, but if you don't hook me up front, like I'm going to struggle, man. Like I'm going to struggle to keep up. I think this show really hit its stride in the final episode, and that's pretty sad.
Absolutely.
But like what they showed in the final episode, I would have really liked to have seen more of throughout the rest of it. But it's like they held it back and held it back and held it back and held it back and then let it go, and it was just, you know, too little too late.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, the whole IGH thing, that really played a big role probably in, I'm going to say, the first half of this season.
Yeah.
Just turned to be the ultimate disappointment.
It was legitimately nothing.
Absolutely. It's like, give me something. Like, maybe someone could have sent a video of a young Jessica Jones to herself.
Yeah.
Said, I found this. You need to look into it.
Yeah. So effectively, the whole thing started because Trish decided that Trish wanted to investigate this. And that's the only reason why this was even opened, because Trish had already started her own investigation. And she had pushed the point and, said, look, we need to find out. And Jessica's like, no, I don't really want to find out. And she's like, no, you have to. You have to. You have to. And that opens up this whole can of worms that effectively turns out to be not much, because it could have benefited if they had, because we got the Whizzer. So we got another super powered person. Maybe if they had have played that off a little bit more, and she met a couple more of those, rather than it just kind of being, her mother and Whizzer.
Absolutely.
It was a random dude, not even involved in the accident or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about the character Whizzer until you just mentioned him.
Yeah.
That would have been a much better story plot, that these, I guess, characters were coming to her with these memories of this place, and they remember seeing her.
Yeah. Or maybe they're being released, or they've been released, and they're terrorizing the friggin' neighborhood or something.
Yeah.
And, it's up to Jessica to, stop them and find out, what this whole thing is about.
Because IGH has been closed down for what looks like 20 years.
Yeah, definitely.
And how are these people, not running loose?
And here's the biggest kicker with all of it. The guy who did it, so Dr. Karl Malice, right? So the guy who did the genetic engineering and the DNA tampering and all that sort of stuff, that created Jessica Jones, just to clarify, that created Jessica Jones and created her mother and, gave them their powers and all that sort of stuff. He's not a bad dude. He might be misguided, right? And yes, he is tampering with people's genetics, but he dead set saved both of them when both of them were going to die. And for the entire rest of the season, he's treated like a piece of shit. Apart from Alyssa, but from Jessica for sure, and Trish and everyone else, he's treated like this monster, when effectively he seemed like a really nice dude who genuinely cared about Alyssa and was just trying to save people's lives.
Definitely. He was one of the characters that I found most enjoyable throughout this whole season.
Yeah.
And he probably had the least amount of screen time.
Yeah.
The guy was very charismatic. He actually cared. And there was a backstory to him more than anyone else.
Yeah. And I think there are a lot of other little subplots that suffered through the middle part. So, we start off with a really intriguing story from Jerry Hogarth, right? Which kind of disappears through a bit of the middle of it and then comes to a head sort of towards the end. But we kind of forget about it. Remember Foggy is in this show?
For 2 seconds.
Foggy Nelson actually shows up, and then, he's told to piss off, and then he pisses off for the entire rest of the thing. It's let's not even bring him in. I don't even know why they bothered to have that. It honestly made no sense. And then, so you've got that sort of story. You've got the Price Cheng story, that, the rival kind of company that kind of disappears into the background until it's needed again towards the end. And you've got a couple of different stories that are kind of they're trying to intersperse with the main story, but because it goes for so long and these other little side stories are quite short, it doesn't really work, and they suffer because of it. Because I was probably more interested in Jerry Hogarth's story than I was in the main Jessica Jones conflict at times.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it had peaks and troughs for all these different characters, but they were all just peaking at the wrong points.
Yeah.
I mean, there was never a steady flow of storytelling from episode to episode.
Yeah.
You got winners, and then you got some real losers throughout this whole season.
Yeah.
Terry Chen. This guy was clean as they get, but there was something that just made him snap and want to turn into a killer.
Oh, that was Price Cheng.
Oh, sorry, Price
Terry
Cheng.
Chen is his real name.
Yes.
Price Cheng. Look, what turned him into a killer is the fact that, so obviously he got slapped around a bit by Jessica Jones, and he didn't take it quite that well. And then, so he was investigating, and because her mother was around, kind of half trying to protect her, half trying to cover her tracks or whatever, she killed his partner.
Yeah.
And because she murdered his partner, he was dead set out to kill whoever sort of came in his way, I guess, because of it.
I feel like the character was too smart for that, though. Like, that's just like a
Yeah.
massive knee-jerk reaction, and I feel like that's poor storytelling.
Well, in the end, it didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
Because in the end, his story continues. And, you know, it doesn't really kind of like come to a head or anything like that. Like, it sort of does, but then it doesn't. It's like, oh, we have you. And then it's kind of like, you need to leave now. And then he leaves and you don't see him again. That story is done until right at the very end when he needs to come back to further Malcolm's story on.
That's right.
No, you go.
You go, because I'm going on a whole tangent.
All right, I've got a tangent too. Here is a simple way, right, to end this whole thing. I got 2 words for you. Luke Cage.
Yes.
So here you have Alyssa. You have Jessica Jones' mother, who has been genetically engineered or tampered with, and she's got these powers because of it. She's got this uncontrollable rage at times. She's got super strength. She's actually able to like jump 10 stories or something like that at some point, which you never really see her do. But you know, she does a couple of like pretty impressive things, and she's also obviously super strong and all that sort of stuff. Now she rips people apart. Effectively is how she kills them. She breaks their neck, or she rips them apart, or she flings them across a room. Guess who you can't do that to?
Luke Cage.
Correct. So, and Jessica has spent pretty much the entire season getting her ass kicked by her mother. And she's like, I'm the only one. I am the only one who can bring her down. And I know part of that is to do with the fact that she can talk her down, or she can try to talk her down. But it's literally, I'm the only one who can stop her. And it's like, well, you're not, and you know a person who can. And I don't want it to be sexist or anything like that and seem like that's how I'm coming across. Like, the only way this could be fixed is if, you know, a big man comes in and, like, saves the day. That's not what I'm getting at. But some of the things that, like annoy me so much, and we spoke about it when we were talking about like Phase 2 and Civil War, and I think it was Iron Man 3 or whatever we were talking about. They know these people. They have friends who are powered, and they never go to them. And they never go, hey, Luke Cage, you know how like you're also super strong, but also invulnerable? I could really use your help right now. You know what I mean? It stresses me out.
Yeah, it's really disappointing that they don't utilize what they have. I want to talk about Trish.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about super terrible characters. Trish Walker.
Can I just say, before you go on a rant, can I just say I liked Trish's character in season 1. Dead set did. Okay, now continue.
Yeah, so Trish, season 2, just turns into a massive C-bomb who feels super unaccomplished.
Yeah, like inadequate.
Inadequate because her adopted sister was experimented on and is superpowered.
Yep.
Therefore, she is basically meaningless. Also forgetting that she seems to have one of the biggest voices in New York City.
Yep.
Has
a high public profile.
Absolutely. Is also in a relationship with one of the, I guess, top TV show news anchors.
Or like investigative journalists or like war reporters, whatever it was. Foreign correspondents, who knows.
Absolutely.
But he's very highly praised and, you know, all that sort of stuff.
Definitely. Has pretty much everything going for her apart from the fact that she's a brat.
Yeah.
And just wants what she doesn't
have. And a former addict as
and
well.
A former addict, yeah. Who is the guy that comes back? His name is escaping me.
Comes back.
Yeah, who had the inhaler?
Oh, God. They only mention him a couple of times, and he pops up in one episode or 2 episodes or something. He was supposed to be Nuke,
yeah.
Yeah. But I can't remember what he's actually like. What his normal name was.
We'll run with.
I didn't even put him in there because he wasn't
in there.
He wasn't enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So we see he actually makes a return, which is really quite good. Gets killed almost instantly.
Yep.
But seems to have this inhaler that is able to make him stronger, more aware of what's going on. Actually, I don't think it makes him stronger. Just seems to give him like this enhanced. I guess.
Because it's like his name was Simpson, Will Simpson.
Yeah.
It gives you the ability to like heal quicker. It gives you like it does enhance pretty much everything as far as I'm aware.
Okay. Well, let's say it like gives everything an enhancement.
Yeah.
Trish
everything.
Gets everything.
Hey,
those internet ads have not been lying. Buy this inhaler and get enhanced strength.
Whoa.
wow. But yeah, she just becomes an absolute addict on it again, which really works well into Malcolm's story because this guy is a recovering addict himself.
Yeah.
And overcomes Trish.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic character development for Malcolm.
Definitely.
To see Trish just go from like the highest of highs to the lowest of lows in the most unrealistic manner is ridiculous.
Look, pretty much every boneheaded decision that is made in this show is made by Trish.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the writers decided that they wanted to make her unlikable, but that's exactly what they did.
Definitely.
And there is no real redemption arc. Like, we see kind of towards the end that maybe the experiment worked and maybe she is going to get some powers and maybe she will turn into the comic book Hellcat and all this sort of stuff, right? But there is, like, they have honestly made her, like, she tries to play off her like her decisions by, you know, I'm doing it for you, or it had to be done, I'm saving you, and, you know, blah, 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 and I'm just trying to save lives, and I just want to make a difference, and all that sort of stuff. But everything that she does basically, you know, undermines, like, her friends.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I know that is, like, you know, addictive behavior, and she has this thing in her head, and she needs it, and all that sort of stuff. I would have liked to have seen it more so that, you know, I don't know, they could have played off the addicted to the inhaler part more, sure.
Yep.
Right? But to continue that after the inhaler left, to then push it into, like, I'm almost going to shoot Malcolm if I have to. I'm going to, like, alienate myself from Jessica, all because I want, like, these powers and stuff like that. Like, it just pushed it too far.
Yeah, definitely. I agree 100%.
And then to have the decision to just off Jessica's mum right in the final episode by Trish, the only thing that I am thankful for is that there wasn't a redemption at that point. Like, that Jessica didn't turn around, like, right at the end and say, oh, you know, you're my sister, I can forgive you. Like, it dead set looks like ties are broken there.
Yeah.
And, you know, I get into that. But I don't know, man. Like, that was a way that you take a really good character and you just turn her into one of the most unlikable Karen Page-esque type characters.
Exactly.
In the Netflix universe.
Troy, what would you have done differently this season?
Oh, man.
Where to start?
Look, here's the thing. I still love the character of Jessica Jones. That hasn't changed. I love what Kristen Ritter does, and I love what she brings. I like the fact that she had a little, like, sort of side story with, like, Oscar, the super, and his kid, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that really humanizes her.
Yeah, it humanized her a bit, and that was kind of her whole thing. Like, she realized that she can't, like, alienate everybody and all that sort of stuff. And, like, that was nice. And the character itself, like, I really like what Kristen Ritter does, but the story was just, it was dead set, just boring nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, there was a lack of a villain. You know, one of my favorite episodes is when Kilgrave came back as a friggin', you know, just as a hallucination.
I'm going to go on record and say Jessica Jones cannot survive without Kilgrave.
I don't know about that.
That villain was too good.
Yeah.
And only reason I say that is because I enjoyed those episodes immensely.
Yeah, okay. So to answer your question, like, there's a number of things. I would have continued with the character development of Jessica Jones after the events of the Defenders. I wouldn't have had her kind of taken a back step from where she was headed towards the end of that, and maybe kind of more reluctantly, you know, push her into being a hero a little bit more, rather than it's like, no, I'm not doing this. I don't care about anybody. You know, you've got powers. Get away from me. I don't care. You know, this, that, and the other. More reluctantly kind of, you know, getting out there and being a hero.
Yeah.
I would have, you know, I would have had a genuine villain at some point. And I think that's really what this lacked, because they're kind of trying to have it as, it's more of a, like, a mother-daughter, really sort of, like, terrible, strained kind of relationship. And in the background sort of that, she's also superpowered and has, you know, like, murderous tendencies and stuff like that. But I think if there was an actual, even if it was a third person that they both had to, like, team up and stop, because, you know, something like that, just for there to be, like, an actual genuine main antagonist for them to overcome. I think it struggled because it didn't have that. So I would have given it that as well. I would have stopped with most of the Trish nonsense. I would have had Trish's arc, instead of becoming, effectively superpowered, I would have had her realize that she can make more difference as a human with what she has, what resources she has available to her, as you were talking about before.
Yep.
So, sure, she gets addicted to the inhaler. She goes on that tangent. She comes back off that and realizes, that's not who I am. Who I am is this voice that can change, the world effectively.
Yeah, definitely.
And I would have had to go like that sort of, I don't know. I think 8 episodes, they can't keep doing 13, man. Like, it is such a struggle to get through these series when they're running through 13, because that's Luke Cage, that's Iron Fist. Defenders did it right having it at 8, even though that
needed 13.
that probably needed 13. And then Jessica Jones, easily could have been 8 again. What about yourself?
Yeah, look, I agree with a lot of what you said there. The main thing that this season needed was a villain. It didn't have like a clear. It didn't have a clear plot to it, in my opinion.
Yep.
I agree with you about the whole Trish thing. She needed to find out that she's more powerful as a voice,
yeah.
than as a hero, because that's going to change more lives. Jessica really should have come into this with a better headspace. Like, I feel like the fact that they had to go back to Kilgrave, and I mean, I like this, that there was a lot of tones of purple used throughout this season, like as, little subtle.
Well, that's kind of her color anyway.
Yeah, but there's like a lot of little subtle hints towards Kilgrave.
Like a foreshadowing of him coming back, yeah.
And like the fact that he came back is great, but also disappointing in the fact that Jessica Jones potentially should be moving past this.
Yeah.
And moving into, I guess, a new light.
Yeah.
The fact that she still goes home, becomes blind every night, just drinking stupid amounts of alcohol. That's not character growth.
You know where she ended up in the end? Where she like stopped the robbery and then, went back and had dinner with Oscar and his kid and all that sort of stuff. That's where she should have started off.
Absolutely.
That's where she should have been, where she's kind of like just reluctantly, like she knows she's got to do the right thing and she has the power to do it. So she's doing it because she's, kind of had a little bit of a taste of being a hero. And then maybe she goes through this whole story about maybe she has to give that up for her mother and, become a criminal or on the run or a fugitive or whatever. But, in the end realizes that that's not who she is. She's a hero.
Definitely. And I mean, one of the villains that I think they maybe could have had this season is like a mob boss or something like that.
Yeah.
Daredevil had Kingpin.
Yeah.
Just a normal guy.
Yeah.
Why can't Jessica Jones just have a normal villain to go up against?
Yeah.
She's going up against a whole gang or something like that. She's trying to stop, let's say, trafficking of people, of drugs, something like that. Something that like doesn't require her to be an actual superhero or a super powered person, but because she has those abilities, it helps her.
Yeah.
Like,
one of the things that I always have an issue with, and this is what I like to call the Flash effect, right?
Okay.
Where every single person pretty much surrounding the main hero starts to become powered.
Yeah.
And, they start to just, it's, that's an interesting character. Let's make them interesting and give them powers. And that's, that's an interesting character. Let's make them interesting and give them powers. And that's kind of like Trish now. She's headed that way. And I know that is partly, comic book accurate in the sense of, the Patsy Walker character and all that sort of stuff, right? But, then they bring her mother back and her mother has powers. And, it's like, you're almost like, okay, so Jerry's going to get powers next.
Yeah.
Or, Malcolm's going to get powers. And, it's kind of like it's treading the line of, kind of heading into the Flash effect.
Definitely.
And, I just like those characters can be so much more interesting based as humans. You could see that with the story arcs that we had with Jerry and that we had with Malcolm, because Jerry was on the same thing. Like she has like a life-ending disease that, was kind of crushing her, and she thought that she could get out of it easy and then realized that she couldn't. She was being swindled. And then in the end, like, she became so much stronger because of the whole thing. So much stronger than she could have been, probably if she was healed.
Yeah.
By a superpowered person, or, if she had some experiment that got rid of it or whatever.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? So like that kind of, and same with Malcolm. Like Malcolm, as a human went through everything and came out stronger on top. You don't have to give people superpowers.
That's right.
So, it's one of the things that stresses me about. But there were a couple of good things. There were a few episodes in there that I did enjoy. I do have to give props to the character development of Malcolm, like we've said. I'm interested to see where season 3 goes.
Yeah, what do you want from season 3?
I really think season 2 should have ended with Jessica's ascension into kind of like a hero.
Yeah.
Similar to, like Daredevil finally becoming, Daredevil at the end of season 1, and, like the Punisher, and I guess to a lesser extent like Luke Cage, and, so I really would have liked to have seen her ascent into herodom, but it didn't happen. So that's what I want to see in season 3. I want to see that official, I'm not saying she's going to get the white costume and all that sort of stuff necessarily, but I really want her just, to see, to embrace her hero role. And I think we need to get back to having a proper villain, somebody that, pull it from the comics, make it like you said. You can even make it just a mob boss or whoever, but give her an actual antagonist. Look, it's interesting. It's, is it the same thing that you see in every other season? Sure. But this is the whole, the whole part of, this whole comic book character sort of thing, this superhero thing, is there's a superhero and there's a villain. And it's the battle between the two. And, sometimes if you're just kind of giving us their day-to-day, life stories, it can be pretty boring, especially if you're trying to stretch that over 13. What about you?
Yeah, look, in season 3, I want her to develop as a character and maybe even develop as a hero. I want to see, maybe she can get more powers. Let's see Jessica Jones fly.
Yeah.
I want that. I was disappointed we didn't get this in season 2.
I genuinely thought it was going to happen. Like,
Absolutely.
They didn't allude to it at any point while I was watching it, but, before I actually started watching, I'm like, oh, this is going to be it.
Yeah.
We're going to see her fly, and no.
Nothing.
That's
Nothing
fine.
at all. I'd like to see her actually pushed to the brink.
Yeah.
We don't ever get to see Jessica, in absolute turmoil. She's just always been an asshole.
Well, it's inner turmoil.
Yeah, and that's all it is. It's not like she is, actually pushed to the brink of, I can't do this.
Season 1 did it really well, though. Season 1 with Kilgrave, I know it was more mental than anything, but they did it so well with her battling against Kilgrave, and that was because it was a fantastic villain, mind you, but it was built from the start of the show all the way through to the end.
Definitely.
And that's that's what they failed to do, and I think they need to. But maybe this time, instead of mentally challenging her, let's physically challenge her.
Absolutely. I want her to go into battle and fight people to get to a resolution.
Yeah.
That's her hero arc.
Yeah.
It's, she's out there and she sees these people in trouble. She needs to rescue them. She needs to do this. She needs to do that to reach that goal.
Yeah.
And realize, you know what? I can do this.
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen in season 3.
Yeah. Another thing I really liked, and this was kind of they were just throwing it out there now. They're not really hiding it. A little kid, can't remember what his name is, but Oscar's son. Do you know Captain America?
Yep.
I've got a Captain America
I
toy.
knew you would like this.
Shirt. I friggin' finally. Not the flag waver or anything like that. They're actually saying Captain America. And while I still don't believe that these will ever cross over with the MCU, right? I don't think these characters will ever come into the MCU. I do feel like they either need to leave it completely or they need to be a part of it, but just never turn up in the actual MCU, and that's what they've done. So they've kind of, they have legitimately said Captain America exists. We know who he is. It's not the big green guy. It's not, the hammer dude or whatever. Yeah. So I did like that.
It'd be great.
What?
At the end of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5, Phil Coulson knocks on Alias Investigations.
Yeah, or something.
Just get that. Maybe get her into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for, a couple of episodes as a proper team player.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. or like you get a Luke Cage or get somebody. But yeah, that would be pretty cool. We got the obligatory Stan Lee cameo that was there. I don't know if you saw that one.
I missed it. They're very quick.
They are quick.
These Netflix shows.
Because he doesn't show up as a person. He always shows up on a poster.
Yeah.
And he was on the back of the bus. There was a poster on the back of the bus when Oscar's baby mama took off with the baby.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So that happened. And Carl Malice, this is a little bit of trivia for you. Carl Malice was actually Carnage in the comics once.
Ooh.
But they obviously aren't going to play on that because he's dead.
Gone.
Dead and gone. That's about it for me, man. So I think we know where this is headed.
What do you think, Troy?
Hit, split, or shit?
Where's it sit for you, mate?
Look, honestly, and I know I'm the guy that likes everything, and I wanted to like it, man. I was so impressed with season 1, and season 1 still ranks about as high as it can. Because nothing is going to beat Daredevil season 1. But for me, it goes Daredevil season 1, Jessica Jones season 1, Daredevil season 2. It's shit. I've got to call it for what it is, man. I did not have a good time, and I watched it quickly. It's not like I had to wait week to week or anything like that. I watched it. There was a coherent, in my mind, I was watching a story, and I wasn't forgetting things because I had to wait so long to see it again. But just didn't do it for me, man. Not at all. It's shit.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to agree with you. I was trying to find everything I could, and I was trying to convince myself in our conversation to push this to a split, man. But this is just straight up shit.
Yeah, and look, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking Iron Fist shit.
I don't know.
Nah.
It's just a little bit better.
No, no way. Iron Fist had a lot more problems than this did, but I would, I would have it probably. Oh, man, I don't know.
Okay. Before you go on, with Iron Fist, the first season being so shit, would you reckon the second season would be as terrible?
Look, if they don't learn from their mistakes, they're idiots.
And that's why I have to put this on level with Iron Fist, because this is season 2, and she's had, effectively, this is her third round in Netflix.
Yeah, I see what you're trying to do, but I can justify giving it a shit rating. I can't justify giving it an Iron Fist shit rating. It's it was shit, but it wasn't fisted.
Yeah, look, I'm so surprised that this has been reviewed at 87% by Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, look, let us know what you think, guys. Did you enjoy season 2 of Jessica Jones? Are we being a little bit too mean? Is there something that we missed? Hit us up in all the usual places.
That's going to do it for another week, Troy.
That is it. We'll be back next week. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of DC stuff. We've been talking about Marvel for way too long now. Too long.
Some people say not long enough. Some people say change your podcast name to Marvel Confidential.
Yeah, and that's that's what Marvel says when they send us the checks every week.
Yeah,
they're
they're just piling up on the desk, and we're saying no, sir.
No. We will talk about DC in one of these goddamn episodes on our road to Infinity War. That's going to happen. Then we're going to do some more Road to Infinity War episodes, but that's just to lead us into our Infinity War review, which I'm really looking forward to, man. I can't wait to see this movie.
I can't either. I can't wait for our first live show.
Oh, that's also happening. Yeah, that'll be the... not next week, because we're talking about DC. It'll be the week after that. That's a thing.
Wow, it's coming up quick, isn't it?
Sure is. Like I said at the top of the show, we will give you guys more information about what is happening with that if you do happen to be in the local area. If you don't, there are planes. Planes come here. That happens.
We have an international airport for those listening in other countries.
We do. So you can fly almost directly in. You can fly directly in from most Asian countries. Other countries, you have to go through somewhere else first, and then you can come in. Basically, anywhere you can come. Just get here. Just get here. Just get here, you lot. Where can people find us, Cade?
Well, if people can't get here, they can find us on social media, and that's Comic Confidential, and there's also the listener community. And if you're not in there, just look in the mirror and ask yourself, why?
Why?
Why are you not in there?
Take a long, hard look at yourself, right? And point your finger at yourself and say, get on the listener community.
You need to be in that community.
Yeah.
And if you're not...
You're better than this.
You're better than this.
Yeah.
You need to be part of something better.
Yeah.
Be part of the listener community. Just search Comic Confidential Listener Community on Facebook. Answer one question. The question is, what's the name of the podcast? Spoiler, it's Comic Confidential. And we want you.
We want you to be a part of the show.
That's right.
Yeah.
So get in there and talk to other listeners of the show. Very knowledgeable listeners, I might add.
Oh, 100%. And look, we absolutely love interacting with all the listeners as much as we can. But the place where we will interact more is the listener community, because that is where we tend to spend most of our time. And, that's just
the only reason I go on Facebook now.
Pretty much me too. There is not much else that draws me there. So there's that. We have an Instagram. We have a Twitter as well.
That's at Comic Con Pod. We also have a website. That's comicconpod.com. Past episodes, future episodes, and everything in between.
Indeed. We also have a Patreon. That's patreon.com/Comic Con Pod, where you can support the show for as little as $1 a month. Now, there's a whole bunch of other tiers, and you get some stuff when you go there. But I guess we're working on some bonus content to come to you guys.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to start doing some monthly episodes that's only for Patreon listeners.
Yeah. We'll talk more about that once we're 100% sure that that's definitely going to happen, rather than just promise right now, which we basically have already done.
We're locked it in now.
We've locked it in. It's happening. But that's coming up. But for now, thanks for listening. As always, I'm Troy.
I'm Cade.
And this has been Comic Confidential.
Cheers.
Peace.
Oh, Jessica Jones.
Damn.
I'm exhausted.
That was harsh. I had to I had to watch so many goddamn episodes in such a little amount of time.
Oh my God.
And maybe, to the people that are still listening at this point, maybe that affected my viewing a little bit, because I had to watch it. Like, this wasn't an enjoyable, like, I get to just, chill out. Yeah, it was a grind. Like, I had to get it in so we could watch it for this show. But see, the problem is, I started this a while ago.
Oh, right.
It's been out for a month. Like, I started it and I got like 2 episodes in, and I'm just like, meh.
You know what? If it wasn't for this podcast, I wouldn't have finished it.
I might not have, to be honest with you. I think I would have eventually, but
I might have watched the last episode
anywhere near as quick as I did.
I would have skipped like everything in the middle and just watched the last episode probably.
Now I feel bad because when we reviewed Iron Fist, we were kind of positive. We tried to be positive. And looking back, like, it was dog shit and it didn't deserve any positivity. And I'd like to apologize to anybody who was like kind of taken aback that we're being so negative towards Jessica Jones Season 2 when we were so positive towards Iron Fist. But take my word for it, Iron Fist was a big pile of donkey shit.
You're on a chi high.
I'm on a I don't even know. I don't even know what I'm on. It's more like a chi low. Like a chi low green.
Yeah. Fuck you. If you love this podcast, then head over to comicconpod.com to check out the other incredible shows on our network.
You can also support us on Patreon from as little as $1 a month.
You'll get early access to all our shows, plus secret supporter content that's not available to the public.
Head over to patreon.com/comicconpod to find out more.